Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the Behind the Plate podcast, brought to you by 1IQ Sports. I'm Will, that's DJ, and we're 10 seconds in, and I've already impressed him, so leave a like.
Wow, you killed that shit.
Yeah, I just made the thumbnail, so that's how I know it's episode 20.
That's fucking crazy. 20.
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a line. It probably isn't, but it's a good number.
It isn't when you think that we've tried to do this for 2 seasons now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a clean number.
We're here. 20 is a clean number. It's like almost a milestone, you know?
Yeah.
25 is a good quarter milestone. 50 is a good one. Then 100, and then you don't really care after that.
We're gonna get to 40 in we'll get to 40 in the next
20 weeks.
No, it'll be a lot better by the end of the season, guaranteed. I hope
20
maybe
podcasts.
Not.
You think we're gonna rank out 20 more podcasts in the next 2.5 months?
Hopefully
at a weekly rate.
I don't know. I need to. Wait, how many weeks is there left in the season?
12.
Oh shit. Okay, we'll get to 30. We'll get to 30.
I love the optimism.
Yeah, I'm optimistic. We're gonna be killing it.
The
Pushing out more videos.
Well, I mean, we can do a lot more for playoffs, but off season's gonna be. Oh, it's gonna suck.
Oh yeah,
but that doesn't matter because that's so far away.
Exactly. We have a lot of shit to do coming up. I'm excited.
Yeah. We passed the All-Star break. I don't know. Nothing really of worthiness to me came out of it for this, in specific, of the game and the Derby. Teoscar won. Vladdy's a better hitting coach than what we have, and that's just kind of it.
Yeah.
I didn't really think much of anything else. I just liked the Manfred annual press conference that he does, where he basically is like, well, I've put in my 4-year resignation notice, so I'm just going to become God himself and make the game so much better. So basically, he just ran through and said everything that he wants, people want to hear. So he wants to bring back the individual jerseys for the All-Star game. Makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not a huge fan of the jerseys. I just like players representing their teams. Just makes more sense.
It's cool to look at. I was a big fan of it when it happened. And it's very easy for the casual fan when they're watching the game to watch a certain player. It's oh, that's my representative, or you can find them very easy. Whereas the jerseys, it's very hit or miss, and this year especially it was a huge miss, even though it caused quite the debate for us during the stream. But yeah.
There's the only year that both jerseys were good, or that I liked both jerseys, was 23 last year in Seattle. I really liked the Seattle jerseys.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't mind the National League jerseys, but not great. Colorado's American League jerseys were all right, and then the LA ones were fine, but it's just better when the player represents their team.
Yeah, it'd be a cool idea too, is if they do that, every player wears their City Connect.
Well, not every team has a City Connect.
Well, hopefully by the time.
Well, that would require the Yankees to not be so old school and have some fun. So maybe in 2030.
Holy, you think it'll be that long before every team gets one?
Honestly, I think the jerseys would be dead by 2030. I don't know how long. Because LA's on their second one already. Other teams, Washington's cutting theirs already.
Really? I didn't know
they're
that.
cutting their, I don't know what it's the flower one. I like it, but they're saying hell with it because they're bringing in a whole new jersey style.
Oh, okay.
So they're cutting the City Connect jersey.
Well, at least if they do it, they could let the team choose.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
I like the home and away, minus Arizona's, because theirs always has to be a little bit darker than everyone else's, and it looks so much worse.
Yeah.
But the light gray on the whoever's the away team and then the white on the home team for the All-Star game is just perfect. Like you don't need to change that.
Yeah.
I like when they do the
No.
cool hats, when they like make a
Yeah,
custom hat
sprinkle it
for
up.
it, like
Yeah, yeah,
based
yeah,
off
yeah.
of the team. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
The main one that I think of is 2015,
Yeah.
where they had like the stripes on the side, and then 2017, I think it was, had the panel.
I don't know. I have one of them, and it's really nice. It's
I like
upstairs.
those.
Has like the star on the cap, and
Yeah.
yeah, I
And then
like
like the
those a
San
lot.
Diego one had the gray brim.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind that stuff. Like it's fine, it's whatever. But I just want the team jerseys back.
Me too. I think if you asked like took a poll, it would be like 90-10 probably or something.
Well, I think it's something like almost every player's called for it back. Bryce Harper's been so vocal on it.
Mm.
Because I don't think technically he's worn a Phillies jersey in an All-Star game yet. Because I don't think he was an All-Star in 2019. He might have been,
No,
and I just might be going crazy. But I thought it
I
was Real
think
Muto.
I think it was like it's been like 5 years since he was at All Star. I don't know, something
Yeah.
like that.
Like, I think he was an All-Star in 21, but I don't think he was in 19 just because of injuries. I'm not
A
sure.
lot of the time, it's injuries with him.
Yeah.
So
He didn't have a great first year either. So, but like I like watching players in their jerseys. It just
me too.
It's better, especially when it's like a guy that like isn't always gonna be an all-star, like an
Yeah.
Espinal or like a Merrifield or like I think it's Elias Diaz, the catcher for the Rockies. Having them wear their jerseys is so much cooler than having them wear some like Dollarama made shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I think it's good for everybody. I don't think it's gonna take much for them to overturn it.
no, I mean if Manfred's thinking about it, they're just gonna do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of all on me for jerseys. I feel like I've just reiterated the same point 1,000 times.
Yeah. There's nothing much else to say other than like just fucking do it.
Um, the one thing that, well, I mean, a few things I found interesting. Manfred said he wants to go to the Olympics in 2028, or at least wants to like start to work on a plan to see if it's
Bro,
possible. I
that's
like
so
that. I
sick.
think that'd be so sick. And it'd
So
be his
sick.
last year as commish, because that's when
Mm-hmm.
his contract's up.
Commish.
Yeah. So then the new commish would have to figure out a way to do it, and if he didn't do it, he'd get shit on right away. So he's Manfred's trying to go out on an all-time high. I like it. Start the season like a week earlier, 2 weeks earlier. Cut spring training by 2 weeks. Win-win. So what you play in March, but like you don't have to have 3 months of spring training because God forbid it's so boring.
Yeah.
And then you take like 2 weeks in July or like late August. Rework the
Yeah,
trade
and
deadline a bit. I think it's doable. I'll even cut the season by 20 games.
yeah, I think it's worth it. Like baseball is one of the biggest like sports in America and like all. And I feel like if you did it on such a big stage, it would grow the game tremendously. I think it's a no-brainer because of how big it is and yeah, I don't know. Look at how the what's it called? What is it?
The World Baseball Classic.
Yeah. That already does numbers and is great for the game. So the Olympics
That's
is just like god tier.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like the MLB already has it. Like it
Mhm.
really. What's the difference between the Olympic team and the like that World Baseball Championship? Because it's like the same stuff. So
Mm.
if you don't go to the Olympics, like I'd like the World Baseball Classic to be every 2 years. I think that works.
It works.
Teams like it, players like it. Teams might not like it, but the players definitely seem to enjoy it. The fan interest is insane, especially after last year. You got to capitalize off the like Japan versus US, Otani versus Trout shit. You got to capitalize off that. So I'd like to see
Yeah.
one again this year in 2025. I don't know if they are doing one, but that's what I'd like.
Yeah, I think the Olympics would be even bigger. And like I feel like there'd be a couple places that like had to come together for the Olympics. And like a lot of players would like be very specific on who they wanted to play with.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think it'd be crazy to see for the Olympics because I don't think people realize how fucking humongous the Olympics are,
Yeah.
and that would just drive so many eyes to these talented players. You get Otani versus Trout and all these big names. It's like that's gonna garner a lot of attention, especially if they're good games. So that'd
And
be
like,
sick, but I mean,
yeah. Um,
don't know, realistic.
Also, like, it helps bring more popularity to the game as well. Like, baseball is, I don't want to say it's the fastest growing sport right now, but it's definitely seen a spike in viewership, like, that I
Hmm.
haven't seen in any other sport, maybe football, but, like, that doesn't count because, like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, they got 100 million eyes for free. But baseball's really started to ramp it up,
Hmm.
viewership wise, so that the Olympics just adds to that. Like, if you got someone from, like, let's say fucking like Athens, Greece, watching this shit, and he's
Right.
like, "Oh, this is pretty fun. This Otani guy's pretty sick." Like, could you imagine Otani going out, throwing like an immaculate inning, and coming back and leading off with a nuke? That shit's
Oh
unheard
man,
of in any sport like that. And if you put it at the Olympic stage, people are gonna watch, and more eyes are gonna come back to baseball.
that's
Um,
exactly. I
it's just
agree.
it's up to the teams,
Yeah, and it's
because
a
the teams will
long
lose
process.
money.
It's a long process, and it's hard to like get the Olympics to like be into it, you know? It's
Yeah,
like a long, long process. They've been trying to expand and get more sports like yearly.
yeah.
Almost every time like there's a new Olympic, they try to get something in and it's very hard. But sometimes they add some fucking weird shit like what was it? There
They
was
got
like
speed walking, which I think is
yeah,
just the fucking
yeah.
dumbest event ever.
Yeah. So if speed
But
walking can get in, you could probably have an argument for baseball. A very fucking
yeah,
concrete argument.
I think you'd need a lot of support from the owners because they would probably lose money in the short term.
Yeah.
But they would see, in my opinion, they would probably see massive gains in the long run just through more
Hmm.
eyes. But you never know.
I
I did
agree.
look it up. The World Baseball Classic's not till 2026, so we got to wait another season until we get it.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, I'd like to see Vladdy on Canada just because he is
I
technically
know.
Canadian. So I'd like to see it. I want to see Pavetta pitch. I want to see Cal Quantrill pitch. I want to see both Nailers. That'd be
Yep.
sick. That lineup
Mm.
would be sick. You get like Bo Naylor
Yeah.
2, Vladdy 3, Josh Naylor 4. That's nasty.
Yeah.
Romano in to
Canada
close the games out.
yeah, Canada's pretty good. Like in most sports these days. Like they're
Yeah,
getting better at soccer. They're getting better at basketball. Their basketball team has a shot at least fourth at the Olympics, and
yeah.
that's saying a lot because it's very stacked. And then, yeah, baseball, like there's some very underrated players,
Starting
even
to,
coming up.
yeah, they're starting to flush through again. It's not as American dominated in a sense of like how usually it's North American people like players are American, then it's like um, Asian players like Japanese, Chinese, Korean, and then there's like
Yeah,
um, Dominican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Mexican, and then it's Canada. It's finally kind of Canada's starting to
yeah,
like punch those numbers a bit, which is pretty sick to see.
that would be so sick to see a Canadian baseball team do good.
Even if they got past just the group stage, I thought last year, or
Yeah,
I guess yeah, last year. I thought last year was the year, but
yeah,
oh
we'll
well.
see.
Another thing Manfred's interested in is reworking the rules around trading draft picks. Again, I'm all for that. I think it's kind of stupid we can't trade draft picks, considering every other league can.
Yeah,
Um, my only question is, if that was a rule this year, how would that work for the White Sox and the A's? Because they can't pick in the top 10. So if they
right.
traded that pick, does that mean it can go into the top 10? Or is that team whoever's taking that pick is like, whatever, we'll pick 11th to 30th. Because then that pick becomes, that draft pick becomes just kind of, it loses a whole bunch of value if it can't go top 10.
Right. I don't think they would change it just because like you're not going to change that rule if you're changing already a big one. But like I feel like because they're so bad, it's like you're going to get 11. It still has the value, and like I think you'd have an understanding going into the trade like where you lie in terms of like where that pick's going to be anyway. Like you'll
Yeah.
have an understanding like I'm not going to get like a 1 through 5 pick from this, but like I could still get a very good player in the first round.
Yeah.
So I'm all for picks. Honestly, like it's very confusing to me why the hell you can't trade picks. Makes
Like
no sense.
you can, but you can't, if that makes sense. Like you can
Yeah,
trade the
yeah,
competitive balance picks, but you can't
right.
trade the other picks. So the picks that you earn through players leaving you, you can trade, but like the
Mm-hmm.
picks you're given, you can't trade.
Right.
It's just
That's yeah.
stupid. I
It's
don't know.
like
It doesn't make
it's
sense.
weird. Makes no sense at all.
I think we're the only sport that doesn't allow trading of draft picks.
Yeah. No, we definitely are the only
The only
sport. Well,
major of the
Maine.
four.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
the only
maybe
major.
cricket, but like no one knows how that works over here. So
Yeah. Like look at every other sport. It's fun even on the day of the draft because you're like, "Oh, these two teams are trading up," and like yada yada.
yeah,
It's a big part of every sport other than baseball. So I
and
think it's very stupid.
it would add to the draft lottery too. Like
Mhm.
um, let's say the Red Sox made a trade in 21 with the Marlins, and the
Right.
Marlins sent over a first round pick.
Hmm.
Not only are the Red Sox now fighting for a playoff spot, they also are starting to look at, holy shit, we have a lottery pick as well. And then that brings more excitement. Or let's say, I don't know, Miami had 2 first round picks and their other one is Colorado. Now they're looking at it like, holy shit, we could get 1 and 2. It just adds a little bit more excitement, I think, to draft lottery day.
You're definitely right. And it adds a lot more value and it makes it very like way easier to like make trades happen. I feel like in past years it's been very, very boring at the deadline. Something like that would like,
Change it
okay,
up.
like damn, we're getting a first round pick. That's gonna do good for us. Like, I mean, fuck, look at us as the Blue Jays fans. Like, if we
Yeah.
were able to, you know, trade for a
Let's-
first round pick, second round picks, like we'd be more than happy.
Yeah.
But we can't. So,
Yeah, I don't know. I want it. I like it. The last
hmm
one that Manfred talked about was robo testing in spring training this
hmm
year, so like 2025. And then if
yeah,
that all goes to plan and works well and no issues, it starts in the 2026 season. Um, which I
yeah,
like. I don't know. I think if it went no problem during the 2025 spring training, why not use it in the 2025 season?
hmm
But like, I don't know. It works. It's gonna help speed up games. I've watched a couple minor league games that have it, and I've seen like the main concern is like, oh, it's gonna slow down the game again. It takes 3 seconds.
yeah.
Batters take more time shaking shit out of their glove and spitting in their hands in between pitches than they would for that. Like it's literally a simple, I don't agree, tap on the head. Oh yeah, New York tells me I'm wrong. That's actually a ball. It's like the pitcher doesn't even have his next pitch.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because the MLB, if they get a system in place, they're gonna do it the best way possible. They're obviously not gonna do some shitty but like I feel like a lot of players are very like bitchy and complaining. So like if there's a player like that does it like at least 3 times in at bat, that's where it could be like, okay, whoa, stop abusing it. So
Yeah,
maybe there's a penalty, like maybe like you get 1 challenge per at bat kind of thing.
I think
So
that
it's
would work.
yeah,
Um,
but it's also like it it sucks for the catchers a little bit. I don't know.
I'm intrigued to see how it's gonna work when it comes to framing, because
Yeah,
framing's such a big part of today's game, where you
right.
can steal a strike on the edge, where it's like the hitter probably should just be swinging at that instead of letting it go. So
Mhm.
that will be interesting. But I've also seen a lot of pitches go right down the middle of the plate get called a ball this year, and I'm so over it.
And the opposite, like,
Yeah, and exactly,
happens all
yeah.
the time.
Shit out of
So
the
I think it'll,
zone.
yeah, I think it'll do more good for the game than bad overall. But I think, like I said, limits in the game, there has to be at least like, a set number you could do per at bat or something like that.
Yeah. Well, and the MLB's done a good job at implementing the new rules that they've implemented, like challenging, you get one. If you
Hmm.
lose it, you're over. If you win, you retain it, and then you get another one in the extras or something like that. That's worked
Right.
well. And then speeding up the game, they've done fantastically. Like the pitch clock, I mean, no one noticed it last year, really. Maybe a little bit at the beginning of the year,
I
but
haven't noticed it at all.
I've never really been like, oh man, the pitch clock's ruined the game. Because not a lot of pitchers go down to that like 3 second mark besides like a Chris Bassett that I've really noticed, or like a Zach Greinke did it a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, if anything, I noticed when there isn't a pitch clock in the game, like the WBC was like, holy shit, long. I want them to add the pitch clock for the 2026 one. I really like it.
Yeah, they've implied like every rule almost. I mean, I don't know. There's so many rules that it's like it's hard to say every, but like most of the big rules they apply effectively. So as long as they do it in like a way that it's effective and like that benefits the game, totally for it.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
um the announcement of call overturned, because that wasn't always a big deal. Like they wouldn't mic
Hmm.
it up. They would just like go in and then go, oh, safe. They wouldn't really say what they're challenging or shit. You'd have to figure it out on your own. That was good in
Hmm.
2022. The bigger bags works absolutely fine. And the no shift
Yeah.
has been fantastic. I want to see
Yeah.
them restricted even more personally. So there's that. I think the
Yeah.
next thing that they got to find a way to combat is velocity a little bit, because I feel like 95% of hitters are overpowered now.
Hmm.
Um, Unless you just want to bring back juice baseballs, which
Yeah.
works. Like I'd
Yeah.
be okay with that.
I don't know
Um,
if they would, but
I don't think they would. So I don't know how you like. I know. God, a while like 30 years ago, they moved the mound back
oh
six
yeah.
inches. So that's why it's like 60 feet, 6 inches. It was either moved back or like lowered or raised it something to combat pitching, because pitching got like super overpowering. Maybe there's something there. Probably not. It's kind of hard to just combat some absurd talent.
Yeah.
So I think it's more
I,
of just a
I
hitters have to adjust.
Yeah, exactly. I think the MLB for the most part likes where the game is at, especially this season in terms of like pitching and hitting. Um, Especially because like a lot of these things are still brand new. Like, you
Yeah.
can't really go into it like 2 seasons of this being a rule and like just be like panicking or like wanting to change more because you don't want to change the game too much, right? That would be just too bad. So. As of
Yeah.
right now, I don't think they're worried too much about it.
No, I do want to see the juice baseballs come back. Not like to the level they were in 2019, where you could like lay down a bunt and it would go 400 feet, but like just juice them up a little bit so they go a little bit further. So yeah. Um, the next thing that was announced was the 2025 schedule. Jays started home against Baltimore for the first time since 2022. They started home. It's also the first season without Oakland. You see ATH. It looks super jarring, hurts the eyes. But the Jays get to start at home against Baltimore for 4. So whoever made the schedule, obviously some Blue Jays slept with their mother, because that's insane. 4 against Baltimore. Like, might as well just kick our dicks in. Like, you might as well let us walk out of there 1-3 now and start against whoever after.
That is jarring
Yeah.
for us. But I mean, it's gonna be like as eye-opening as an opening season series can be. Yeah, like in the first
Yeah,
week.
that
But
April is not a great April, but like I thought September was fine. I feel like the only month where I'm like, holy shit, is April. Kind of feel like everything else after
Wha-
that is like it's a good balance of shit.
what is that? That's so weird.
What
Why
the
is it like
ATH?
for no, no, no. I'm looking
Uh,
at like Baltimore for 4, the
yeah,
Nationals. Is that right? Or am I just
yeah,
looking at it
it's
wrong?
Baltimore 4, Washington 3, and then they go on the road. I think it's to New York or something.
Oh, okay. Okay, never mind. I
But
was tripping.
they the Athletics, it's the first season they'll be in Sacramento.
Hmm.
Um, but they're the Oakland Athletics of Sacramento and sometimes Las Vegas. So they're just the Ath. Personally, I think
The
they should just change the abbreviation to ASS. But
ass would be fire.
I think it
I
would be.
love ass.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. The big thing that I noticed out of the 2025 schedule was the rivalry series that the MLB is introducing, which I think could be a cool concept if done properly. I just don't like the way fully it's gone. Some of the matchups
Yeah.
make sense, like the Yankees Mets make sense. Boston and Atlanta make sense because Atlanta's team used to be in Boston before I went to
Yeah.
Milwaukee and then to Atlanta. Um, I just think they really missed on the Jays rival. Like I get Detroit. It's it's Detroit, first of all. I get Detroit because like the 80s, those two teams would battle it out. They're in the same division. The Jays have that like
Yeah.
historic collapse. I think it was 80 I think it was 87. The historic collapse to the Tigers. They took like I think it was a 5 game lead in the last 10 games on the
Right.
division. I get that. But they haven't been in the same division for 30 years. They're not good at the same time. The most noteworthy thing those two teams have done with each other in the last 30 years is send David Price to Toronto and Devin
Hmm.
Travis, by the way. Shout out. I just think,
Shout out.
to me, the better rival was Seattle. Came in the
Mm.
league at the same time. It is like Rogers Center West. They handed the Jays the most embarrassing playoff loss in 30 years. And you could be a Jays fan of 4 years or 40 years, and you would understand why they chose Seattle. Whereas, like, if you're a Jays fan of, say, 15 years, you look at Detroit and go, what the
Yeah.
fuck? Even
Yeah.
I looked at Detroit and I was like, this is like the last team I would have thought of. Like,
Right.
I had, you think Texas, but they're going to face Houston. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I would have thought Phillies because, Halliday went there, but like even then, that's not like really much of a rivalry, but they
Yeah.
always played each other in the National League, like in the interleague stuff. But like, I don't remember who they're playing. I think they're playing the Nationals. I'm not
I
too
haven't
sure.
looked at all of them.
I haven't looked at all of them, but like they just went who's closest on geography and just kind of went with that.
That's
Like
another
I
thing.
get it, but like San Francisco plays the A's, makes sense. Angels play the Dodgers, makes sense. But it's like Colorado, I think, plays Arizona, which I don't like. That's not a rivalry in my opinion.
Right.
Um, and then Seattle plays San Diego, which I don't think those teams have ever done anything to each other besides lose. Like
Yeah.
they've never met in the playoffs.
It's very weird.
Yeah,
Some like yeah, no, like you said, I think Detroit and Toronto is like it's very old and like who cares? It's not they didn't go modern day, but it makes sense because they are so close and like
yeah,
that's just the easiest. But it's I you have to keep in mind though, some of these teams like don't really have like that crazy of rivals, and if they do have rivals, like you know, you can make an argument for Toronto and the Yankees, but then like the Yankees and the Red Sox are always going to be chose ahead of
yeah,
anything. So like a lot of the rivalries just like are lower on the tier list because some teams have multiple, so
yeah.
that takes away a lot too.
I
Um,
just it's hard to grow a rivalry nowadays in this baseball with so much turnover on rosters.
Right.
Like it's very rare to see a team have the same roster within 5 years, or like a relatively close roster within like 5 years of each other's.
Mm.
So like that's an issue. And like you said, other teams have multiple rivals. Like, when I think of when I thought rivalry series, I was like, okay, Yankees Red Sox, that's gonna make sense. Yankees
Right.
Mets would have made sense. Um,
Yeah.
Mets Phillies, I thought would have made great sense. Mets Braves would have made good sense. Phillies Braves would have made good sense.
Yeah.
Um, I there's so many options. So I hope this isn't the only year they do it. I hope they do it. You know, I hope they like
Switch them
try it
up.
for a few years and like switch it up. So like
Yeah.
maybe next year it's like Boston versus New York. You know, Jays versus Mariners, stuff like that. And then like on other rivals, if you wanted to keep Houston and Texas together, that would make sense. But if you wanted to make it really fun and go Houston, like the Astros versus the Dodgers, that would be fun too.
Yes.
Um,
And give us Texas.
yeah, get Jays Texas, or you give the Angels Texas as well.
Yeah.
Um, there's
A lot
just
of arguments.
there's a
It's a
lot of
cool idea
different
though.
ones that they can do. So I hope to see them do it. I'd like to see Detroit, Minnesota. I don't know why, but like I kind of picture those two teams hating each other a lot more.
Mhm.
It's just hard to be a rival with a team that's not in your division and like keep that rivalry
Yeah.
for more than 3 years.
And yeah, it's also hard when a team is has been like totally different. It goes back to what you said, like the the Tigers were so good for so long. At least for how long I've been watching baseball, for at least like when you know Miggy was on the team, they were so good, but now they're like a totally different team, so it's weird to see them like being in a rivalry game because it's like I don't know, not a lot
Yeah.
of people hate this team anymore. Like, there's a different identity to a lot of these teams. But
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's a cool concept.
yeah, I like the concept. Um, the Jays and the Tigers are usually bad together, but they're never good together, you know?
Yeah. Right.
Like another good one would have been Jays Royals. Like
Yeah, no, that is a good one.
that was a bigger rivalry 2015 before Texas was, because there was the whole shit in August of 2015 where you had pitchers getting thrown out because they were throwing at players. So that would
Yeah.
have been a cool one. But like
We lost our big
also it's not a rivalry because none of those players from that year are there anymore. Half those players aren't even in the league. So like
Yeah.
it kind of, you know,
Well,
isn't there.
I
I'd
mean,
even say Jays Rays before I'd say Jays Yankees.
right. Right. No, like I agree. With the Royals, the only argument I would stand on is like we had our like farthest playoff push in like a long time ended by them, but like it's a stretch.
Yeah, and it'll be 10 years old.
Exactly.
So it's just
No,
like,
it's definitely easier to stand on Texas because of a punch in the face than a playoff
yeah,
loss.
but like even Texas, I don't consider them a rivalry team. Like I don't like
Hmm.
Texas. I've never liked Texas, but I don't consider them a rivalry team because the only player that
Interesting.
the Jays fans didn't like was Odor, and Odor hasn't been there for 4 years.
I think a big part of the rivalry is because like it's more modern and
It was back
we've
to back
played
years. Yeah.
exactly we've played them in the playoffs twice in a row, so that's like big for us because like obviously over the last like how long we haven't made the playoffs many times,
Yeah.
so like that's a big part of our like you know
Identity.
his yeah, identity in the modern era, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I like whenever the Jays play the Rays, or sorry, not the Rays, the Rangers. It does
Mhm.
like the games always feel playoff atmospheric, like.
Yeah.
But if they would have played them in the playoffs last year, maybe
Yeah.
I'd go back to that argument. But like Simeon's was a Blue Jay, and now he's a Ranger. Um, there's just I don't know. There's not as much there. But in the last
Well,
10 years, when the Jays are good, the Rangers are good, and when the Jays are bad, the Rangers are bad, except for 21.
mhm. Yeah, I think that's the biggest, not issue, but like biggest trouble with this rivalry thing. A lot of these teams that don't have that historic rivalry, like you know, the first one that comes to mind is New York and Boston, like make about multiple things, and no one's gonna be happy either way. So it's like Detroit, Toronto, like okay, maybe 70 years ago, but
Yeah.
like you
Well,
know,
that's why I was hoping, like, maybe this weekend someone sent a message like, hey, we're going to be rivals next year. Here's a fastball right at your eyes. Don't hit someone in the head. But, like, like, let's send a message. Let's have some fun. But, like, this
third up.
weekend was really just two bad teams trying to play each other. And I don't know, it didn't really make me feel any more excited for it. But
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe the offseason brings in more competitive play next year. Like, maybe by some miracle, both teams are a first place team next year and they're fighting for the playoffs.
yeah,
Doubtful. But, like, that also helps, like, fuel a rivalry series. I hope also, like, the teams don't just wear no basic bitch jerseys. Like, let's get some fun in the jerseys for it. Like, maybe have city connect offs.
yeah.
That'd be like, just make it feel like the rivalry series, or maybe there's a special jersey, or maybe there's like a patch on there or something. But yeah,
Yeah, I
like if they
agree.
do it like it's any other game, it's just gonna feel like any other game.
Yeah, they have to make it stick out and special. I
Yeah.
agree. No,
Um. Yeah. I mean, do you have anything else to add about rivalry series?
no, I think we covered it pretty good. It's a cool concept.
Yeah.
It's early into it, so you just gotta wait and see what they do with it.
Yeah. I mean, usually the stuff the league does works out well. But
Yeah.
you know what they should do for the rivalry series is like make the players' weekend jerseys during that time.
Yeah.
Like just do like a 1 and 2, like a two birds with one stone style thing. That would add more fun. So yeah,
Yeah. I'm excited to see what they do. I think they're gonna do multiple things to promote it to like make
I
it
do too.
better. So I'm excited.
It just sucks because neither team has a lot of superstars. Um,
Right.
like
In this
you
case,
could
yeah.
argue, oh, Barrios for Scooball, but you really need pitching matchups to line up well. Or you could
Mm,
do the big one that I look at is Vladdy versus Riley Green. But like
Riley Green,
even then,
yeah.
Riley Green's still so, no pun
He's in
intended, green in the league.
right.
Um, so I hope Detroit signs like a star so he can market it because they don't really have that guy yet, and I want them to have that guy.
Yeah, in terms of like our series in particular, like
Hmm.
you said though, both teams could be really good by shocker, and then you promote it by not like a player, but you could
Yeah.
promote it as like two teams being very good.
Well, that's why the Jays Mariners one works so well. You get Barrios versus Castillo, you got Gosman versus Gilbert, you got Bassett if he's still around, or Manoa versus Kirby, and then you got Vladdy
Yeah.
versus Julio, Bo versus Crawford. Like there's shit
Mm,
there,
mm,
there's
mm.
history there. It just, I don't know, it works better. But if people
Yeah.
watch that far in and notice that, I'll probably get flamed. So.
Yeah.
Um, We'll quickly talk on some trade talk before we wrap everything fully up with a recap of the series. So the first one is just Twins are looking for some arms, preferably rental arms, apparently is the word that they're throwing around. So it's like Kikuchi, Richards, Garcia, but I do think they'd be interested in a Bassett, but like right price, right thing. So basically just another team to look at for trade stuff. So shout out Twins. And the Cubs are looking at Jansen.
Yeah. Yeah. Who cares? I
Yeah.
mean, no, go into it. I don't know
Uh,
if you put it in the notes.
I just have Kikuchi's value is confusing me because it was really good going into the Arizona series, and he probably didn't tank it that much. But like Detroit's, what are they? They're 27th or 21st in weighted on base or like expected on base and batting average or whatever, like the WOBA thing
Yeah.
against lefties, and they fucking smoked him. So that kind of hurt my. Well, they didn't smoke him per se. He got secondhand smoked because Richards was throwing up like banana cream pies right down the middle, and everyone was just smoking that. So Kikuchi got it by default, but he seems pretty set that this probably was his last start in Toronto, which is interesting to me because they play his next start's against the Rangers, who's also in the bottom half against lefties
Yeah.
when it comes to hitting. So that would be cool. And it'd be his final home start because they wouldn't get another one before the trade deadline. But he was very much like, "Hey, if this is it, thanks a lot, guys." So
Yeah, I don't know. It could be like a they might hold off a little to let him pitch and see if he could have another good start.
I
Just
would.
to be like, yeah,
To
exactly.
me, he can't. He's not going to hurt his value per se unless he goes like a third of an inning and gives up 10 runs. But like,
Right.
let's say he goes 6 solid innings, maybe a couple runs, 6 hits over 6, maybe 7 innings.
Yeah.
That's gonna boost his value. I think you got to look at his numbers and take into effect that the Jays bullpen is literally like the equivalent of a little league team, and he doesn't get much run support. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
e-
You got to take that
exactly.
in. That's why it's
Yeah,
so hard to evaluate trades, man.
yeah, no, Kikuchi is one of those pitchers too. Like he's been very hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. And like we've changed a lot with him and how he pitches. So like he's one of those guys that's proven that he's willing to change. He's been really good at points. Um, yeah, no, at the start of the year, he had I feel like he pitched so many innings where he had to because our bullpen. So like the last few months for all of our starters, you've seen like a big like downward spiral because like they were carrying us for like half of the first half at least, where our offense was doing nothing. And I feel like at a certain point they all just like, like probably got tired or, I don't know. It's hard to say tired because, you're a major league pitcher and usually you can go a whole season, but I don't know if that makes sense or not to you, but I think
Yeah.
it got to them. That like that pressure of like, okay, we can't give up 2 runs or 3 runs or we're gonna lose the game gets in your head,
Well,
I
then you're
think.
throwing, um, like, if you average 6 innings, you're throwing 6 high stressful innings. So
Mm-hmm.
there's that. I am right. Okay. I was in my mind. I was like, I think Kikuchi's thrown the most innings. Oh, I'm not right. Never mind. I thought
It's
Kikuchi had thrown the most
probably
innings
Bassett.
out of any starting pitcher on the Jays. It's Barrios at 119.
Mm,
That makes sense. He was going about 6, 7 innings every start
consistently. Yeah.
before June happened, so that makes sense. Then it's Bassett, makes sense. Then it's Kikuchi. Then it's Gosman, and then that's just kind of it.
How shitty has Gosman been for the most part? I mean, not shitty, but
Just
he's
not
just like
Gosman.
even if he's going 6 and he's having a good start, he always manages to give up 4 runs or something.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I have in here that the Jays need to capitalize on Bassett value, and I'd almost like to add Gosman to that, just because
Yeah.
I really like Gosman and I don't want to see him go. But the odds of this team actually competing next year, to me, aren't super high, and Gosman's value is probably at the highest it'll be over the next couple of years. So either you capitalize on that and say, hey, it's going to be a couple of years, or you just try it again. And if it doesn't work, you just stick with it. So it'll be
You wouldn't
interesting.
like give him another year and maybe next year's here would see where he's at.
No, because I just think age is hitting him. Fatigue on the arm is starting to hit him. Like he's probably thrown 1,000 innings over 1,000 innings in his career. he's doing something that's unnatural to the arm, either an injury or fatigue is going to catch up with him at some point, in my opinion. Um, I I sit dead on the train. Bassett value has to be thrown up there. You just got to
Yeah,
trade
yeah,
him for what he's worth. I love the
yeah,
guy. He's a great player. He's a fucking workhorse on that team. But
yeah.
it's for
No
this team to
brainer.
compete, you do have to trade him, and he deserves to be on a winning team.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's at his ceiling in terms of like how good he is, and you know what you're gonna get with him. It's not gonna be anything bad for a contender. That's an arm like Bassett right now is like huge, and like we don't necessarily have many players right now that we could capitalize with like that much value.
Hmm.
So like why not do it? Like holding him in another year, like finishing the year is like pointless for us. So I
Yeah.
agree.
But that's enough about talking about players that aren't going to be here next year. So we're going to talk about a couple players that are going to be here next year. That's Springer and Vladdy. They're both doing fan diddly tastic.
Yes.
Springer with 3 home runs in the series against Detroit, double, and just playing overall good baseball for now over a month. Vladdy at 2 home runs. He looks fucking great still. So it's just nice to see. When you don't have a lot to cheer for, it's nice to have a player to cheer for. And those two guys are just fun guys to cheer for right now. And they normally
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, like Springer when Springer's on, he's so fun to watch. And it's he's another one of those players that is very roller coaster, like very up and then
Yeah.
very down. We've seen it a lot pretty much the whole time he's been in Toronto, but right now he's like tearing it up. It's not even like I don't even know. I haven't looked at his stats the last like what 10 games, but it's got to be like something what Vladdy did before he got hit in the hand.
Oh yeah,
Something
he's
close.
doing some nuts stuff. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't have too much to say about them. It's just
Nice.
it's nice to see, and you see the same thing out of both of them when they get
Mhm.
back to the dugout. They're immediately talking to one guy, and it's Matt Haig. So clearly, they're the two best hitters on the team right now. It's not close. Horwitz is doing fine. He's just going through his yearly or his major league struggles as a young kid. That's what you're gonna do. Same
Yeah.
with Jimenez. But no one else has been at the value of Vladdy and Springer all year, and I don't even want to hear arguments for anyone else. Like I don't. There's no one else. It's Vladdy 1, it's Springer 2, then there's a gap, and then there's arguments for other guys, but no other guy. Even there's even a gap between Vladdy and Springer. Um,
Yeah. It's pretty tremendous how big the
but
gap
like
is.
the number, not everyone's like Vladdy's the only guy who has great numbers across the board on all scenarios. Like Vladdy's hitting the
Hmm.
ball hard. He's hitting the ball a lot. He's getting on base a lot. He's slugging the ball. He's hitting it out of the yard.
He walks.
He
He plays
walks.
good defense.
Like, well,
He plays good enough
he plays league
defense.
average defense.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
Whereas there's other guys who, like Varsho's hitting for power a little bit, but the average isn't there. You got Schneider who's going to run into a ball a couple times a month, maybe 4 times a month, 5 times a month. That's great, but the average isn't there. Then you got a guy like Horwitz who, when he's doing it well, but he's not doing it right now. Turner's, I don't know what the fuck Turner's doing. Same with Kiermaier. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Jansen's not doing it. Kirk, I didn't,
Weird
honestly, I
again.
watched 3 innings all weekend, so I don't really know what the boys did. So, like, I don't know if
Yeah.
Kirk was playing well, if Jansen was playing well, but, like, the two
They're just
standouts
like
were Vladdy and Springer, like usual.
yeah, I mean, when you've had such a rough start to the year for someone like Kirk, unless you're like tearing it up noticeably, you're kind of just not that valuable in terms of your bat. He's one of the best framers in the league, but like how much value do you lose
Yeah.
in a guy like Kirk with the new system coming in?
You're
It's
going
like
to lose
does
a
that
lot
really
with him.
exactly. So You have to take
Um,
that into account because I bet you GMs are already thinking about it.
Probably. Um, my last point on Springer would be the fact that he's the second best hitter at the end of July for the Jays is insane. Because for the first two and a
Yeah.
half months, he was the worst hitter on the Blue Jays team.
Yeah.
Um, so the turnaround over the last month has been unbelievable to get to the
Right.
point to where he is. But it
Oh, I
also,
know.
I don't know if it says more about the stretch that he's been on or just the overall season of the Jays lineup that a guy who is like OPS plus was like 10 on June 19th is now like over 100 now is nuts. Or sorry, WRC plus, not OPS plus.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's very eye-opening because it's like, yeah, he's tearing it up now, but it's like, damn, he has 40 RBIs and not a lot of. Well, we have a couple guys, but like he was so bad, like so bad. I wanted to take him down, to AAA at some points, even though like, it's hard to do that with someone like Springer. But like he was bad, like hard to watch. Like I think his lowest batting average must have been like 179 or something. It was stupid.
it was bad.
So like to see him hitting like even he's only hitting 239. That's how bad he was. Like, and he doesn't miss anything these days.
Yeah. The WRC
Yeah.
plus was 102 the last time I checked, which is 2 points higher than league average. So
Mm.
shout
Yeah.
out that. I believe that's how WRC plus works. Not fully sure.
Yeah, it
I'm
is.
messing up a
Anything
whole
up.
bunch of numbers together right now.
Yeah, anything with a plus behind it. I think if you're above 100.
That's what I thought because I was like, I thought it
Yeah.
worked pretty similarly to OPS plus, where
Yeah.
100 was the average.
Right. Yeah, no, that's how it is. But I think for Vladdy, just seeing him hit for power again after that stretch, like maybe this All-Star break was good. I think it's very good that he keeps on doing his thing because it's like fucking sign the guy and pay him what he wants because he's proving to you like if you don't think I'm worth money, like keep watching me play. I'm only gonna get better.
And he's probably healed up a bit too.
Exactly.
So there's that. The only person who's not healing up is Bobashek because he's fucking hurt again.
Yeah.
So thanks, Bo. I don't know. That's kind of it. It was pretty
I mean,
obvious that he should have been on the IL in San Francisco, but the Jays refused to do that because of the All Star break. They figured they could give him more time. Shocker, it didn't work. Now he's out for 5, probably 6 months. Has even less trade value. Cannot be traded because no team's going to want to take him, and he's going to have to rehab in AAA. So
yeah.
basically, he should be done until September call ups, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm
Just
not a
rest
doctor.
him. So stupid that now he's out because like our biggest piece at the deadline is irrelevant now. So that
Yeah,
sucks.
team sucks.
He's
We're
so
gonna.
bad he can't even be like useful at the deadline.
I know.
What a shitty year.
I'm gonna go into our predictions last week. We're gonna quickly barn burner these games. It starts on Friday, Apple TV Plus, because Jays fans have to pay extra to watch their team lose. Jays drop out early. It's 3-0. Jack Flaherty has a perfect game going on. What? Can he get the hell out of here? Oh, wait. Vladdy sends one out at 117.5 miles an hour.
Crushed
It's
it.
3-2. Then it's 5-2. Then it's 5-4 due to a Springer home run. Jays lose 5-4. Game sucks. Whatever. Game two, they were never fucking in it. It was 7-3. Vladdy had a home run. I
It was
genuinely
actually
have
7.
zero memory of that game.
I
I think I just
watched.
watched like 3 double plays and said "fuck this" and turned it off.
Yeah, it was bad. It was 7-0, and then we scored. I think it was all 3 runs in 1 inning. Because of Vladdy, and then an RBI single, and then yeah, it was just toast. They were never getting back into that game because they scored in the 8th, so it was already like over for our team.
Yeah,
And today was fun, but kind of sucked because we squeezed squeezed out of victory that we
Yeah.
don't really need.
Today starts off with a George Springer 6-pitch at bat that ends in the seats. But hold up, he ain't done. It was so nice, he had to go do it twice. So he sends one into the seats again. I kind of fucked up the AJ quote, I ain't gonna lie. I was really hoping to go, first time was so nice, had to do it twice. And he did. And then Kevin Gausman promptly gives up a grand slam. And I tweeted out, whew, I was a little worried we were going to win this game. And then they did win it. So what the hell?
Yeah,
Does
literally.
no one know that we're going for Ethan Holiday? So there was that. Jays end the week on 1-2, which was my record prediction.
Good for you, man.
So
Good for you.
I'm very happy. I'm putting a little green thing on that because I was right. But the
1
Blue
and
Jay
2.
of the week, I had Kirk, DJ had Springer. It was Springer.
Boop, 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 boop.
So DJ is right.
Look at that.
So yeah, this week the Jays play Tampa Bay for 3 and Texas for 3. I think it's Tampa Bay, then Texas. I think
Yeah, it
that's
is.
yeah. So six whole games this week. But they don't play until Tuesday, so Monday's an off day. So it's 6 straight games, starting off with Looney Dog Tuesday. Yeah. I don't think the Jays have a really good record on Looney Dog Tuesday, but fans, actually Looney Dog Tuesday has been, it's one of my favorite things because I like to see how many hot dogs people eat. Like, I'm like, how much
Yeah.
stadium meat will people shove down their throat?
Yeah.
But last one took a bit of a dive, so I'm hoping numbers kind of get back up this week. DJ, as I continue to write out our little thing here, could you do you want to take the honors with the record prediction? Then I'll do the Blue Jay of the week.
Yeah, I think my guess we play pretty bad against Tampa. And they're just like one of the floaters that are just like decent. I think they're gonna beat us. I think it's gonna be 1 and 2 versus Tampa, and same thing. I think if we win against Texas, we're gonna win the last game of this series or the first one, something weird. But I hope we go 2 and 4. And yeah, that would make me happy. It used to make me sad, but I don't think there's any way we have a winning record against Tampa and Texas, because Texas has to turn it up, so they're playing with purpose, because
Both
for
these
the
teams
rest of the
have
year.
to.
Exactly.
The
Yeah,
Rays
and
came
same
out today and said that they want to buy. They just came off a series win against the Yankees, if I'm not mistaken. So there's that. Texas needs to turn it up because they want to win. They're heading for the playoffs. And I think Max Scherzer is potentially doing trade talk stuff as well. So I assume a Scherzer start probably ends up in there. He's trying to up his value. If they trade him, there's just a whole bunch of different things. You go 2 and 4. I also am going 2 and 4. With the back of my mind that I could see them sneaking out 2 against Tampa Bay for some weird fucking reason.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm trying to think who gets 2 starts this week. I think Yariel Rodriguez gets the double start this week, Tuesday and Sunday.
That would be fun.
I'm trying to think because I don't know who our 5th starter is right now because everyone's hurt.
So
Give me a minute. My brain's not working. We got Barrios, we got Bassett, we got Gausman, we got Rodriguez, and we got Kikuchi. Who didn't start against Detroit? Barrios didn't start, did he?
We got Barrios twice this week.
So it's
I'm pretty
Barrios
sure.
twice. My brain
He could
wasn't
easily
computing,
be the
man.
J of the week.
Yeah. But I wanna have some fun because this might be this player's final week in the jersey, and he's gonna wanna go out on a high note. Justin Turner is gonna have Danny Jansen's gonna have a hell of a week. He's gonna up his trade value, and next thing you know, Danny Jansen will be a Cub for Owen Casey.
I'll say Justin Turner is going to be my J of the week, just to like join you and like pray that someone gets their value up so we don't have to cry.
Yeah. Realistically, the Blue Jay of the week's Vladdy. So,
Yeah,
but like this is for
yeah,
fun.
or Springer, like
Yeah. So yeah, that's this week. We'll see you
yeah.
all in a week from today, right before the motherfucking trade deadline. We will be
Ooh.
doing a stream special on that, so be sure to tune in right here on 1IQ Sports. We will be going live around 11 a.m. Central Time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just
Mm-hmm.
a couple of hours for the trade deadline to see what the Blue Jays do, who they sell, and who kind of goes where. So come check that out. As
Yeah,
always, it's been a pleasure, DJ.
I am looking forward to next week.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching and or listening to this week's episode of the Behind the Plate podcast. If you guys are brand new here and you made it all the way to the end, shout out you, give yourself a pat on the back. And while you're doing that, hit that subscribe button. It's free, it's fun. And I mean, who doesn't like hitting buttons? So yeah,
Exactly.
do that. Hit the like button too if you enjoyed listening to us talk. And yeah,
Yeah. If you're here, bye.
give your record prediction in Blue Jay of the Week. And if you're right,
Oh.
we'll shout you out if you exist. Peace.